Good afternoon. Thank you for making the time out of your busy schedule to attend this webinar. I am Everett Igobua, Lead Educational Developer, Critical Pedagogies and Equity, Diversity and Inclusivity at the Center for Teaching and Learning. The University of Alberta respectfully acknowledges that we are located on Treaty 6 territory, a traditional gathering place for diverse Indigenous peoples, including the Cree, Blackfoot, Métis, Nakota Sioux, Iroquois, Dene, Ojibwe, Inuit, and many others whose histories, languages, and cultures continue to influence our vibrant community. For the session planned today, I will discuss team-based learning, TBL, and the two-stage exam, outline student-centered pedagogy using group work, collaborative learning, cooperative learning, and the flipped classroom, and I will offer a U of A TBL example. Our classroom teaching leads us to explore various pedagogical methods, and instructors are continuously trying different strategies to foster active learning and student engagement. Some of the strategies include peer learning through group work, cooperative learning, peer mentoring, team-based learning, and others. Educator Cohen has described group work as follows, and I quote, "Students working together in a group small enough so that everyone can participate on a task that has been assigned. Moreover, students are expected to carry out their task without direct supervision from the teacher." Educators Lawton and Whitcomb have argued that group work pedagogy is useful in the classroom, and I quote, "Group work is a well-documented and highly recommended strategy for enhancing academic, social, and attitudinal outcomes for students. Researchers have shown that students who experience group work make greater learning gains in basic academic skills as well as high-order thinking when compared to students in traditional whole class instruction." End of quote. While group work may foster positive results, some students dislike this pedagogical strategy. Here is some of their feedback. Poorly designed projects with little or no support from the instructor. Team members who didn't participate effectively in the group to produce work. The group work project was just keeping them busy. Difficulties meeting outside the class due to conflicts in schedules. With team-based learning, flipping the classroom allows the students to prepare for the instructional session using readings, videos, analyzing case studies, or doing some mathematics problems. To effectively nurture group learning, or TBL, we draw from educator Benjamin Bloom and his 6 hierarchical criteria, Bloom's taxonomy, starting with the lowest levels, namely remembering, understanding, and graduating cognitively to applying, analyzing, evaluating, and finally creating. This may also be deconstructed as surface learning to deep learning. The 3 domains of Bloom's taxonomy being cognitive, affective, and psychomotor, with various attributes to each category, also informs TBL. TBL has been appreciated through structured and regulated group work in class, thus making TBL a form of hybrid learning while broadening the horizons of experiential learning for our students. TBL draws on constructivist pedagogy, where the teacher is not the sage on the stage, and facilitates the learning cycle. In so doing, they foster critical thinking in the learners while highlighting key concepts in the content. Additionally, drawing on previous knowledge by building bridges to link it to new knowledge. This may also involve learning and relearning. Also, nurturing problem-based learning in the classroom through group work and reflective practice in our pedagogy. Team-based learning is attributed to business studies educator Dr. Larry Mickelson. In 1979, Dr. Mickelson was teaching at the Central Missouri State University in the USA. And TBL was a pedagogical strategy that he used in large enrollment classrooms in order to foster student engagement through active learning and peer pedagogy. In order to answer the question, how is TBL organized? Students are divided into diverse teams using EDI parameters to form diverse teams of 5 to 7 people. Normally, these teams are permanent. However, some educators elect to modify them with dynamic teams. Each unit of instruction session commences with a readiness assurance process, RAP. And during this time, for approximately 15 minutes, the students will individually complete the Individual Readiness Assurance Test, IRAT. This is followed by the same test done collaboratively in the group. Additionally, the instructor may add a few more questions of the same genre to be completed by the groups. The Individual Readiness Assurance Test, or IRAT, and the Group Readiness Assurance Test, GRAT, form the two-stage exam. The instructor may decide the weighting of each component in order to award each student a grade. Following the two-stage exam, the team members may contest the questions they got wrong, and they must provide adequate evidence in writing as to why they believe that they deserve a better grade. In so doing, the students collaboratively revisit the course material and their processes or rationale or arguments or criteria. The lecture method is still part of TBL pedagogy. Following the completion of the appeal and marking the end of the readiness assurance process, the RAP, the instructor identifies common challenging concepts and lectures for about 15 to 20 minutes. The instructor may elect to repeat the individual test and group test, or simply just defer to the group test in order to reinforce the concepts. Alternatively, the students may be given work to do outside the classroom in readiness for the next class. TBL nurtures peer learning, and the students also have an opportunity for self-assessment and peer assessment when needed in the learning cycle. It is entirely up to the instructor and students to decide how self and peer assessment may be incorporated into their course assessment. Here is TBL pedagogy summarized on one page. So you can see the pre-class, which the individual students do outside the classroom, the readiness assurance, which has the individual test, the team test, the written appeal, and the instructor clarification tutorial. This is then followed by application of course concepts, and the instructor may repeat the readiness assurance test after giving a short lecture or move on. Now, I'm going to offer a U of A TBL example from 2018. In October 2018, Dr. Sean Disoney and I collaborated on a modified TBL strategy for Math 160, which at the time had an enrollment of about 80 students with one TA. Students attended their classroom having prepared some mathematics problems showcasing the process. When I visited the class, they used the quad for group work. The students were divided randomly in groups of 6 or 7. They were each given a sheet of paper with a group number. They then left the lecture hall and walked to the quad, where they formed groups based on their group number. A representative from each group went to the TA or Sean for the first task. After completion, an additional task was assigned. The students in each group collaborated in learning how to solve the problem, showcasing process to product. Additionally, the groups were allowed to spy by learning from each other. This relates to the other groups. For assessment, a random group member was asked by the TA or Sean to explain how to solve the problem. One of the challenges that Sean faced was group dynamics. In conclusion, TBL nurtures collaboration between the instructor and the students in the learning cycle. Additionally, pre-class preparation, peer learning, teamwork, self and group assessment are fostered. I have discussed several concepts during this webinar. If you wish to explore them in detail, you can schedule a consultation request by visiting our CTL webpage. I will quickly display my references for this webinar. Thank you once again for your time.